Welcome to another episode of Spooky Tales, the podcast where I share personal experiences with the paranormal. I was driving back home from a business trip, alone on a deserted highway. The rain was pouring down, making it hard to see the road. The only sound was the wipers and the radio, playing some oldies. I was feeling tired and bored, so I decided to call my wife and check on her. I reached for my phone, but it was nowhere to be found. I searched the glove compartment, the seat, the floor, but it was gone. I cursed and wondered if I had left it at the hotel. I decided to pull over at the next gas station and use a payphone. I checked the signs and saw that the nearest exit was about 10 miles away. I sighed and continued driving, hoping to find some civilization soon. As I drove, I noticed that the radio was getting staticky. The music was fading in and out, replaced by weird noises and voices. I tried to change the station, but nothing worked. I turned off the radio, but the noises didn't stop. They got louder and louder until they filled my ears with a deafening cacophony. I felt a chill run down my spine. I looked at the rearview mirror and saw something that made my blood run cold. There was a figure sitting in the back seat, staring at me with glowing red eyes. It was pale and gaunt, with long black hair and sharp teeth. It smiled wickedly and whispered in a raspy voice, "Hello, driver. I've been waiting for you." I screamed and swerved the car, trying to shake off the intruder. But it was too late. I lost control of the wheel and crashed into a tree. The last thing I saw before I blacked out was its face, inches from mine. I woke up in a hospital bed, surrounded by doctors and nurses. They told me I had been in a coma for a week after a terrible accident. They said I was lucky to be alive, but they couldn't explain how I survived. They said they found me in the car, alone, with no sign of the creature. They asked me if I remembered anything, but I lied and said no. I didn't want them to think I was crazy. I didn't want to relive that nightmarish ordeal. I just wanted to forget. But I can't forget. I still hear its voice in my dreams, taunting me, haunting me. I still see its eyes, burning into my soul. I still feel its presence, lurking in the shadows. It's still waiting for me, and I know it won't let me go. I screamed and swerved the car, trying to shake off the intruder. But it was too late. I lost control of the wheel and crashed into a tree. The last thing I saw before I blacked out was its face, inches from mine. I woke up in a hospital bed, surrounded by doctors and nurses. They told me I had been in a coma for a week after a terrible accident. They said I was lucky to be alive, but they couldn't explain how I survived. They said they found me in the car, alone, with no sign of the creature. They asked me if I remembered anything, but I lied and said no. I didn't want them to think I was crazy. I didn't want to relive that nightmarish ordeal. I just wanted to forget. But I can't forget. I still hear its voice in my dreams, taunting me, haunting me. I still see its eyes, burning into my soul. I still feel its presence, lurking in the shadows. It's still waiting for me, and I know it won't let me go. That's my story, listeners. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you sleep well tonight, because you never know who might be hitching a ride with you. Good night, and sweet dreams. Ghost. But wait, there's more. As I was about to end this episode, something happened that made me change my mind. Something that gave me hope and courage. Something that made me realize that I'm not alone in this fight. I heard a knock on the door. I opened it and saw a familiar face. It was my wife. She had come to visit me after hearing about my accident. She hugged me and kissed me and told me how much she loved me. She said she had something to show me. She handed me my phone, which she had found in the hotel room. She said she had listened to the last call I made before the crash. She said she heard everything. She heard the creature. She heard me scream. She heard the crash. She heard me say I love you. She said she believed me. She said she knew what I was going through. She said she had seen it too. She said she had been followed by the same creature ever since we met. She said it had tried to kill her several times. She said it had a name. It was called the Night Rider. She said it was a cursed spirit that preyed on travelers and lovers. She said it had a weakness. It was afraid of love. She said we had to face it together. She said we had to end its reign of terror. She said we had to drive it away. She said we had to go back to the highway. She said we had to finish the story. She said we had to survive. She took my hand and led me to the car. She said she had a plan. She said she had a weapon. She said she had faith. We got in the car and drove off into the night. We turned on the radio and played our favorite song. We looked into each other's eyes and smiled. We were ready. We were not afraid. We were in love. We were alive. And that, listeners, is the true ending of my story. I hope you liked it, and I hope you learned something from it. I hope you never give up and never lose hope. I hope you always have someone to love and someone who loves you back. I hope you always have a happy ending. Thank you for listening to Spooky Tales. If you like this story, please subscribe and leave a review. Until next time, stay safe and stay spooky. I was driving home from a long day at work, feeling tired and hungry. It was a dark and stormy night, and the rain was pouring down hard. I turned on the radio to keep myself awake, but all I could hear was static and some faint voices. I decided to take a shortcut through a deserted road that I had never used before. It seemed like a good idea at the time, but I soon regretted it. The road was narrow and winding, with no street lights or signs. The trees on both sides were tall and menacing, blocking out any moonlight. I felt like I was driving into a nightmare. I checked my phone to see if I had any signal, but it was dead. I cursed under my breath and threw it on the passenger seat. I hoped that I would find a way out of this road soon, or at least see another car. But I was alone, with only the sound of my engine in the rain. Suddenly, I saw something in the middle of the road. It looked like a person wearing a hooded cloak. I slammed on the brakes, but it was too late. I hit the figure with a loud thud and felt a jolt of pain in my chest. I screamed and got out of the car, expecting to see a bloody mess. But there was nothing. No body, no blood, no cloak. Just an empty road. I was confused and terrified. I looked around, but I couldn't see anyone or anything. I ran back to my car, hoping to get away from this place. But when I got in, I saw something that made my blood run cold. There was a note on my dashboard, written in red. It said, "I've been waiting for you. Welcome to hell." I heard a loud laugh behind me and felt a cold hand on my shoulder. I turned around and saw a face that I will never forget. It was the figure that I had hit, but it was not human. It had pale skin, black eyes, sharp teeth, and horns. It smiled wickedly and said, "Hello, my friend. I hope you enjoyed your drive. Now, let's have some fun." I tried to scream, but it was too late. It grabbed me by the neck and dragged me out of the car. I don't know what happened next, but I know that I never made it home. I tried to scream, but it was too late. It grabbed me by the neck and dragged me out of the car. I felt its claws digging into my flesh and its breath on my face. I knew I was going to die. But then I heard a loud bang, a flash of light, a bullet. It hit the creature in the chest and it let go of me. I fell to the ground, gasping for air. I looked up and saw a car parked behind mine. A man got out, holding a gun. He was wearing a uniform and had a badge. He was a cop. He ran towards me and checked my pulse. He said, "Are you okay? Can you hear me? I'm here to help you." I nodded weakly and tried to speak. I said, "Thank you. Thank you so much. You saved my life." He smiled and said, "Don't mention it. I was patrolling the area and I saw your car. I thought something was wrong, so I followed you. I saw that thing attack you and I shot it. I don't know what it was, but it's dead now." He helped me up and led me to his car. He said, "Come on, let's get you to a hospital. You need medical attention. You're lucky to be alive." I got in his car and he drove away. I looked back and saw the creature's body lying on the road. It was still smiling, but its eyes were closed. I shivered and turned away. I hoped that I would never see it again.